Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm the Jaywalker. Today, ghost story for Saturday, haunted church, the Lady in White. Let's go on a jaywalk. So I grew up in southern Idaho, small farm town during what was called the Satanic Panic, which was a time during the late 1970s, early 80s, or through the 80s into the early 90s, where there was a lot of stuff that went on, and there was a lot of almost religious fervor starting to kick back up in America, and anything bad kind of got kicked up to being satanic. Any talk of the paranormal, oh, don't talk about that, that's satanic. Ouija boards was another big one, that's satanic, we just don't do that. Heavy metal music, that was satanic. All this stuff, was satanic. And I grew up in, I wouldn't say a heavily LDS Mormon area, but it was a good portion of the population was LDS. So with that, and with this satanic panic mindset going on in the area, there was just not a whole lot of talk about the paranormal, about those type of things. So I never would have thought that I would hear about the Mormon or LDS, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints meeting house having a haunting going on. I think of haunted churches, I think of the cute little, white clapboard style, churches from the Midwest, the old cool cathedrals back east, the missions in California, cool churches and cathedrals in Europe, that kind of stuff, but definitely not the Mormon Church in Utah or Idaho. Then a friend of mine, her name is Patty, she told me today's story. Obviously I believe her, or I would not be relating this story back. One thing with the LDS Church, a couple of things, I guess. One of the big things is they are, at least one of their beliefs is they're family oriented, and so with that going on, a couple of things that will trump any other church activity or meeting would be weddings and funerals. So if you've got a wedding reception, funeral going on, those things you can get done. You can use the building as a member for free, and so every time I think I've seen it's been free for you to use the building, and they will gladly make the building available for those things. With all of that being said, it was during preparations for wedding reception that this story happens. There's going to be another part of this that'll happen kind of cleaning up, that happened kind of after the cleanup or during the cleanup of said wedding reception, but this first part happened in preparations for it. So this would have been the night before the reception. My friend Patty and one of her daughters were there to prepare for another daughter's wedding reception. Now, for those of you who are unaccustomed to how LDS meeting houses are set up, especially this one, any newer style of meeting house, which this one is. It's just a big rectangle. And there's usually through the center section of it, on one end you'll have the chapel, and then directly behind the chapel there's what's termed the cultural hall, or the gym, and then around the gym chapel area there'll either be a U-shaped hallway or a hallway that goes all the way around the chapel and gym. portion. And on the outside of that hallway, since the inside is just the gym and chapel, on the outside there's offices for different wards or parishes and classrooms. So in preparation for the wedding reception going on the next night, Patty and this younger daughter are going and taking chairs from one of the classrooms to bring it into the gym and, you know, for seating during the reception. And as they're moving chairs, and I'm not sure if they were close to being done and, you know, how much longer they had left to go, but as they're doing the work, they come walking out of this classroom where they're grabbing the chairs from. And as they move down the hallway to the door to the gym, the door that they're going to go through is directly across from the outer doors that lead outside. It's a big set of like double doors that goes to the outside. And both of them turn to look towards those outside doors. Both of them freeze. Patty looks at her daughter and sees a look of just absolute fear and terror on her daughter's face. She turns to her daughter. Do you see something? Her daughter says, yes, do you? And not wanting to put any images or, you know, anything into her daughter's mind, she says, okay, yes, I do see something. Tell me what you see. Daughter says there is a woman in a long white dress, a green apron on the front, and then a veil over her face. Daughter's about 14, 15 years old, obviously pretty articulate. And Patty says, that's what I see. We're out of here. This apparition disappears. This lady in white is gone. They take off. So, you know, obviously there had been no one in there with them. It was just the two of them. And this lady disappeared directly right after they saw her. Didn't even go out. It was just gone. Now, clothing. Something that is, I don't know about unusual, but something that is, I guess, unique to LDS culture, you know, and the church as a whole. One of the things that there's a belief in is a temple, completely separate building with completely separate things for church members. And part of that is they wear ceremonial clothing in the temple. I'll toss a picture of it up here so you can kind of get an idea. But for women, part of that ceremonial clothing is an ankle-length white dress, or a long white dress, green robe, and a veil that at certain points will cover their face. And a lot of faithful LDS people will be buried after they die in this temple ceremonial clothing. So my thought is maybe, you know, lady that died at her funeral there, and just, you know, spirit was there hanging out, watching over things, and maybe hadn't left with her family and her body. What do you think? So like I said, there's a second part to this about cleaning up. That'll be a different story that's coming up soon. Thanks for joining me. Join me again. Like, subscribe, share this with your friends. Comment down below why you might think that this lady was hanging around her church. Never heard of a Mormon church being haunted, have you? We'll see you soon.